Okay, so let's go ahead and do a problem that involves the quadratic formula. We're looking at number 9. Number 9 is 0 equals x squared plus 4x minus 3 in the direction stated to solve using the quadratic formula. Okay, I've highlighted the quadratic formula right here. All it is just a formula that helps us solve quadratic equations without having to factor. It works for every single quadratic equation, even if it's not factorable, and sometimes even when there is no solution. Okay, it will solve when there's no solution, which kind of sounds a little backwards, but that's when we get into something called complex numbers, which we won't get into right now. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and first identify what our A, B, and C are. A is going to be our first one, so that's going to be 1, B is 4, and C is negative 3. All right, now all we got to do is plug it in to our quadratic formula. So it says negative B, which really is just the opposite of B, so I'm going to take negative 4, since B is positive 4, that takes the opposite of that. Okay, plus or minus. Remember, when we take the square root of something, it's usually the plus or minus. So then we have b squared. Well, b squared is going to be 4 squared. Okay, 4 squared. I'm going to take that in parentheses. Minus 4 times a times c. So a is 1, c is negative 3. All right. And then we put that all over 2 times a. In this case, a is 1. All right. So I always like to simplify whatever's in the radical, whatever's underneath the radical. So let's go ahead and do that. So negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 squared, we'll do 16, okay, minus 4 times 1 times negative 3. Well, if that's a negative 4 and that's a negative 3, a negative times a negative is a positive. So that actually turns into a plus 12, since 4 times 1 times 3 is 12. All right. Now we can simplify the bottom. The reason we can simplify the bottom is just because it's not affected by anything, nor does it affect anything that's on the top. So 2 times 1 is 2, and that just makes it nice and easy right there. Okay. So negative 4 plus or minus square root of 16 plus 12 equals over 2. We're not quite done with the radical yet. We can do x equals negative 4 still, plus or minus square root of 16 plus 12 is 28. Okay. Again, still over 2. All right, negative 4 plus or minus square root of 28. So what we can do is, if we want it as an exact answer means our answer is going to have a radical in it. So let's keep it as an exact answer. Negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 28. Well, that means we are going to factor 28. So let's factor 28. That'll break up into 2 and 14. 14 goes to 2 and 7. And then we can see we have a pair of 2's right there. So this simplifies to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 2 times the square root of 7. Okay, so negative 4 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 7. That's all over 2. Okay, all over 2. Let me put this in red since that's what we changed. Right there. Okay, so now what we can look at is, well, let's see if we can simplify, right? So we are dividing by 2. Well, look, we can divide 4 by 2 and we can divide 2 by 2. So let's go ahead and simplify a little bit. And we get negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2 plus or minus 2 divided by 2 is just 1. So that pretty much cancels out or simplifies to 1 right there. And then right now we are left with square root of 7. Right? The reason we don't put 1 there is because it's just unnecessary. It's redundant. So we just have negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 7. That is our exact answer. Okay, that's going to be our exact answer. Okay, so our exact answer is negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 7. If we wanted now to find an approximate answer, really that just means let's find it as a decimal, right? Because decimals a lot of times mean you're going to have to round it, and approximate means we're kind of rounding at some point. Okay, so we have two solutions: -2 plus the square root of 7, and -2 minus the square root of 7. Okay. Now I don't have a calculator right next to me, so let's go ahead and do some searching here. All right, so what I'm going to do is find whatever the square root of 7 is. Okay, the square root of 7 is about 2.65. Okay, 2.65. So we have -2 plus 2.65, and then we have -2 minus 2.65. So this, again, is approximately -2 minus 2.65 is -0.65. And then -2 minus 2.65 is -4.65. Oh, it's 0.65. All right, so these are our approximate answers. So if on a test or a homework it says to give the exact answer, this is what we're looking for up here. Oh. This is what we're looking for right here. And if it says to give an approximate answer, it's saying, all right, put into your calculator and find, see what you get. Okay. Oh, sorry about this. This should actually be -2 plus 2.65 is actually a positive, right? It's a positive 0.65. There you go. All right. Everything else should be good. And that was number 9. There you go.